guys, it's Roxy here. I'm using a little bit of a different setup because I'm going to try to show you how I do my roses. You can either add a stem to them like I've been doing with some of them, or you can just sew them onto things. This is what I've been doing stem wise. Just a little pipe cleaner for the stem. It ties onto the back pretty easy. I'll show you the ties that you can use to tie it to your different projects. Like if you make bags or anything, you can pretty much tie them to it, and it works pretty well on the bags. And I'll show you all that here in a little bit when we get closer to being done with it. But today for my roses, I'm just going to be using my 5.75mm hook, and I'm actually going to be using this new yarn that I got from somebody. It's Poppin' yarn. It is Sea Aqua in color. This one actually doesn't have the size of it on there unless it's hidden. No, it does not. It does not have the size on it. But this is just the standard, it's the non-bulky stuff. It's the standard stuff that I've been using on all of my other projects as well. But I'm going to pull my string out. I've never used this roll before. Haha. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. The way we're going to get started, get us a little tail going, and then we're going to get our slip knot, which if you don't remember how to do the slip knot, it took me a while to memorize how I was doing the slip knot. You can go watch one of my previous videos. My first video shows how you do the slip knot. But here we've got our slip knot on. Go to our hook, and we're going to start. Depending on how big you want your flower is really going to depend on your chain. Like it depends on how many you are going to end up wanting to chain. You can go to 41, which makes a decent sized flower. My flower that I just showed you, I do 51 for. So what we're going to do is we're going to start our chain. 5. And all I'm doing for my chain, just a reminder, all I'm doing for my chain is I'm going under and pulling through, under, pull through. And that's all I'm doing for my chain. So I'll meet you when I get at the end, when I get to 51 on my chain. Alright y'all, so here I am at the end. I've got my 51 done on my chain. It seems pretty long, but it'll all roll up, and so it won't be as big as you think it's going to be. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to skip this stitch and go over to this one, and we're just going to do a single crochet in that, and then we're going to chain 2. We're going to skip another stitch, go into this next one, do our single crochet, and chain 2. Skip one, go into here, single crochet, and chain 2. And we're going to do that all the way down. You'll see it's making these little holes right here. That's going to be what we're going to end up using to make our petals. And this will twist and turn and curve because we're chaining a bit extra right here. And so there's not much of a base compared to how much we're trying to chain on top. So it is going to curl around. So if your work starts curling, it's okay. Don't freak out. It'll all work out in the end. So I'll go ahead and I'll do a couple more of these just to show y'all. And then I'll meet you back whenever I get to the end of this chain to show you how to go the other way and start on our petals. Okay, so here we are. I'm on my final stitch down on the first row. Okay, we're still going to chain 2 at the end. Then we're just going to turn it. And this is where we're going to start our petals. So we're going to actually do double crochets into these big holes. So how you do that is you're going to wrap some yarn around your hook, go into it, yarn over, pull through, and you yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through the last 2. You're going to do this 3 times in one spot, just like this. And then once you get to that third one, what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1, then you're going to go down, grab some yarn, and we're going to slip stitch. And then we're going to go into this next space right here, and we're going to yarn and pull through and slip stitch and chain 1. So that's going to be your first petal. Now, depending on how you want your flower to look, because your flower could look all kinds of different ways. I'm going to do the double crochet petals. I'm going to do about 5 of them, and then I'm going to start doing half double crochet, and then at the end I'm going to do just single crochet so that we can have the different size petals for the rose. So I'll go ahead and do one more of these, just one double crochet. Here's another double crochet. They've been looking forward to this trip, and we don't want to disappoint them. And here's this last double crochet in this one. Each bouquet cost me $50,000. Remember to chain 1 after you're done with that third double crochet. And don't forget to do 1 slip stitch in that same area, and then go to the next one, slip stitch and chain 1. Alright, and I will do all 5 of them in real time. That way I can show you how to do the half double crochets as well. So we're going to work on this. Oh, that was actually a half. Haha. See, I'm already getting ahead of myself here, guys. And if you mess up, it's no problem. Just undo your work to the point where you get rid of that messed up area, and then you can always go back and try it again. It's one thing I really love about crochet. I like to draw and I like to paint too, but it's so much harder sometimes to correct yourself when you're painting or when you're drawing, especially for painting. It's harder to correct yourself on it, and I love the freedom of being able to just easily start over on your work when it comes to crocheting. Like, it doesn't take a whole lot to start over. And it can be really calming to just sit here and have something to do with your hands. Like me, I always have to have something to do with my hands. I always have to be doing something with my hands, or I'm really just jittery if I don't. I've always been that way. And it also helps me concentrate whenever I have stuff to do with my hands. Alright, so I'm about to be on this last section where I'm doing the double crochet. So I'm going to get these last 3 done. Okay. Final slip stitch right here. Chain 1. Alright, this is how my first 5 are looking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the sun is actually making this yarn looking a little whiter on camera than what it really is. It's more of a light blue, not a white. But this is what it looks like. And as you can see, it does kind of start to curl and try to turn. And that's okay. That's actually what we want it to do. We want it to be all that curvy stuff. So how you're going to do a half double crochet is pretty much you're going to start off just like you would the double crochet. But instead of doing 2 steps after you get all your yarn up there, just go through all 3 of them. Do that again. And you're just going to go through all 3 of them. It's really, really simple. It's a simple stitch. And then you're going to chain 1 like you would on the other ones. And the rest of the process is exactly the same. Go over the next one, slip stitch and chain 1. Alright, and you're going to do some of those if you want your flower to turn out the way mine's going to turn out. I do the same amount of the half double crochets as I do the regular ones. See the different sizes? But I do the same number. I do 5 of the half double crochets, just like I did 5 of the regular double crochets. And I will actually meet you when I get the rest of these done, and then I'll show you how we end it. Okay, so I've completed my 5 half double crochets. This is what we've got so far. And it does kind of, see, it kind of curves around. And so how we're going to do our single crochets into this is going to be like we were working our double crochets and half double crochets, except it's just a single. So we're just going to go in without gathering extra yarn, pull through, go in the hole, pull through, go in the hole, grab some and pull through. Alright, so we're still going to do 3, the chain 1, and we're still doing the slip stitching into this one, chain 1. And then I've got this last one that I'm going to do. This is going to be the one where I do the single crochet, and then I'm going to end it with a slip stitch into this very last whole area there. Let's go ahead and get that done, if I could grab the yarn right. You always want to make sure you grab the whole string of yarn and not just a little piece of it, because then it just unravels your yarn. It's no fun. See, I'm not perfect at this either, guys. Alright, so we're going to do this final one. And so from here, you're going to take some of this and you're going to estimate how much you want and you're going to cut it. Okay, so I've got it cut, and then you're just going to pull that yarn through and pull it tight. That creates a knot right there. And where we're going to go from here is this is where we're going to roll it up to make it look like the rose. So what I do is, since that's kind of on top, kind of hold it right there. And I just start rolling this up. And you want to make sure that that bottom edge stays visible and kind of stays lined up together, because you're going to want it to have kind of a swirl pattern on the bottom, and when we turn it over we'll be able to see the top petals. And you can roll this either super tight, you can roll this kind of loose, however you prefer it. I have mine kind of in between, being real tight or loose. Like some of my rows will be loose, some of them will be tighter. Alright, so you want to make sure that bottom is flat. And this is what our top looks like. Now to secure everything, what we're going to do is we're going to take our threading needle, little yarn needle right here, thread it through. And I always start with the middle portion so that I can secure all the edges before I go to this outer side. And what I do is I just go into this row, go into the top row of each of the layers. So like I went through right there, I'm going to go through right here, and right there. And then I just pull it through. And then we're going to come back. And I'm going to go through right here and pin it down right there. Go back into this inside. Try to get more of the edge than the whole petal. Okay. And then you always want to make sure right here that you do get this first part right here, this corner, so that you have that tacked down for sure. It'll help the whole thing from unraveling as long as you get that one part tacked down for sure. And you're just going to keep doing this all the way around to make sure that your petals aren't too loose and it's not going to try to come apart. So you're just going to go all the way around, back and forth like I'm doing. This. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. You can do it however you're going to need to do it. You just want to make sure that all of these rows are going to be intertwined to the point that they don't come undone, because you don't want your rose just kind of plopping out of itself. Okay, I'm almost through here. Almost back to where I started. And guys, it doesn't have to be perfect either. So if you feel like it just doesn't look the way you want, you can always redo it. But it does not have to be perfect. Alright, this is the last one. This is why you gotta make sure you've got a kind of a decent tail on it, because you don't want to run out of yarn before you get the whole thing tacked down how you want. Okay, so what I'm gonna do for now, after I pull this through, is I'm just gonna leave that there for a second, and then we're gonna go around and do this other edge. Now, you can do this other edge however you want, as long as you get this first petal tacked down, which I'm going to go in about right here into that first stitch. about. And I kind of scoop up right here because there's two little yarn right there. That way that part's tacked down. See, that's what our rose is looking like. And from here you can either go back and you can go around this edge if you want to tie it down. I go through these back loops on the petals. It hides my yarn from seeing it on the outside, but it gives it something secure to kind of hold into. You can go as far around the rose if you want. Like I said, you could go back and go through these center ones if you wanted to. This is just how I do it. And you don't have to do it the same every single time that you do it. So I'll do one more. Well, we'll start right there actually. Let's stop right there. So how you're going to secure it and tie it into a knot and also get your strings to where you have them so you can tie it to other projects is you're going to get this yarn, and I kind of just twirl it a little bit the opposite direction so that it exposes all the strands. You're going to try to stick your needle through to where there's two on each side, like that, and just kind of peel it apart. And then you've got these two sides to work with. Thread it through your yarn needle. And you can pick a spot anywhere close to it to secure it. I normally go, because there's a little bitty hole right there, I'll go to the other side, the opposite side, and just thread it through that first stitch. Pull it through. Take the two strands and I just tie it in a knot. I try not to tie it too tight because I don't want the rose kind of folding in. But I tie it in this little knot. The knot's kind of hidden. And then you do the same with this other side. Like I said, I just twirl it to open it up some. It's easier to see where your strands are at so you can get right down in between two of them. That way you have two on each side. And if you happen to have a yarn that doesn't spread out like that, if it has like one on one side and two on the other, it's okay. You can still work with that. So this one I'm actually going to go right here. Like I said, you can tie it down to any part of it. Tie this knot. And you can either cut the extra strands and leave your rose like it is, it's pretty much done. Or you can use the strands, and like I did with the pipe cleaners, I just tied the pipe cleaners to the back of it so it held the rose and twisted the pipe cleaner up. Or, like I made the tote bag, I've got it tied on there. All I did was I opened up my tote bag, and I just threaded those strings that we have on it. I threaded it through so that I could tie it to two different stitches on the bag itself. And then I cut my string short. But that is how you do the rose, you guys. You can do it with any color, you can do it with any weight, you can make the petals as big as you want, you can make the rose as big as you want. It really just depends on you. You just make sure that you've got your threading needle, some scissors, and of course your crochet hook, and like I said, I use the 5.75 millimeter. You can use a 5, you can use a 6, it doesn't matter. This is just what I have handy that I like to use. It's really comfortable. Well, until next time, you guys, I'll do another project again a little bit later on. Y'all have a good day.